should make an Instagram account for Norca and friend your parents. And don't say anything to them.
Welcome back to another episode of Girls Gotta Eat.
Happy March.
What's your little smug face about?
Coming up on a year of the pandemic. This month is gonna hit different.
You made this little smug face like something smelled bad, and I was like,
trying not to cry as I thought about March.
I am really excited for March. I'm going to see my parents. All of our parents are fully vaccinated.
All of our parents are vaccinated. Fully vaccinated. My aunt and uncle, like all the oldies in my life.
So I'm driving home. I'm next week, and I'm going to see my parents. I'm going to hug my mom for the first time in a year. Only she left.
She won't let you.
She'll be like, let's wait till the summer.
Your mom's like, I could still be a transmitter. She's like, there could be a droplet in my nostril. I don't want to risk it.
She did tell me. I was like, so like, can I stay at the house? Can we like go out to dinner? And she was like, maybe in the spring
of 2022.
That's what
Your mom's like, I want to be really clear that I'm not going to touch you till 2022.
It'll be 2022, and she'll be like, we've gone this long.
Yeah.
My dad's like, do you think it's safe if I go to a concert? I'm like, wow, you're coming out of the gate.
What concert, Bill?
I don't know.
What does he know about the underground concerts?
He's 73. He's just raging.
Your dad's like, I've heard about these like kind of indoor underground orgies. Do you think it'd be safe if I go?
Honestly, if he did that, it would make me like him more.
Listen. Are we ready for a Bill update?
You'll go with him.
No, I will not go. My first orgy is with your dad. What are we doing? Today's episode.
You guys, I'm so excited. Okay, we have a man that has been with me in every hotel I have been in for like a decade. Hundreds of hotel rooms. He's the only man. Is he my longest relationship?
Maybe. Yes, maybe.
Do you want to announce who it is? I'm so excited.
It's Nev Schulman from Catfish. Oh my gosh, it's happening.
It's really happening.
I feel like I'm an OG fan. Like I watched Nev's documentary. Do you remember Nev did a documentary before the show?
2009. The guy that I lost my virginity to, who I briefly got back together with for 5 minutes when I was living in New York, he told me about it.
He told you. So my brother told me about it. He was like, this Catfish thing, you got to watch it. So we watched the documentary as a family. And then the show came about. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I would watch Catfish in real time. Like I was watching it live on MTV.
And what do you mean in real time?
Like I watched it whenever it came on. I don't know, 9 p.m. on Tuesday. I'm saying like I tuned in at that time, like it was the 90s.
I know. Oh, that show was so revolutionary. And back then there weren't that many ways to stalk people. It was just like MySpace and Facebook. So, listen, if you guys are getting catfished in 2021, you got a problem.
But some of y'all are.
And we're going to unpack it. There's more ways to catfish people, but there's a little more ways to find out that you are being catfished. And this dovetails into like a very crazy thing that happened to me. I recently got catfished.
Yeah. So Raina's going to hold on that and tell Nev that story. Mm-hmm. But we lightly teased it last week because there's a dick pic involved that we all know that dick pic was a smoking gun. For me personally, we'll get to it.
There were so many other clues I was getting catfished, but the perfect dick pic was what Ashley knew that he was catfishing me. Ashley goes, no one has washboard abs and a dick that looks like that. That's a perfect dick.
I know. He like Googled like perfect dick. Well, I don't know. And then can you reverse Google image search a dick? Yeah.
I reverse Google image search that dick.
We're going to talk more about that with Nev because so many people want to know, like, how do I do that?
Right.
So hopefully he still has those skills set. I don't know. And he's like a dad now.
He's a beautiful wife. He's 2 kids. But yeah, we're going to unpack your guys' stories first.
Yes. We're going to go a little backwards. We are going to tell some catfish stories you guys submitted. Then we'll bring Nev in. And then we're going to go even more backwards and maybe do a rec right now. What do you think?
Oh my God. I just have one. Okay. I was going to tell you something funny that happened to me last night, and then we'll do recs and we'll do stories.
Okay. Oh my gosh. We are all over the place.
It's a tiny little anecdote, but last night I posted this thing on my Instagram story. I had ordered living.
Oh, you're telling this story now?
I'm telling it to you right now.
Okay.
Then we're going to do recs.
Okay. Sorry. I flip-flopped the order.
Back. Recs first?
Keep going off.
I ordered Levain cookies to my apartment. If you guys don't know what Levain are, the cookies are substantial. It's a heavy cookie.
They're unbelievable. So a friend of mine, Emily, sent them the day after Dewey passed. Like that was one of the first things that came in hot. And she was like, go get this thing from your doorman. And I'd heard of them, but I feel like I'd actually held off because I was like, that's why I don't want to do crack because I'll probably get addicted. So like I'd never had them and they hit me at the perfect time. So I'm like crying into these cookies. Like I was like Ashley submerged from her trauma, like 30 pounds heavier. Like they are unbelievable.
They're like 2,000 calories a cookie.
I'm surprised. That seems low.
I know. It might be 5,000. I don't know.
It's a daily calorie count.
But I postmated 4 Levain cookies. That's how you know you're single. And I put it on my Instagram story and I was like, this is what I'm doing tonight. Somebody needs to have sex with me soon.
It's so strong. I responded. I was like, did you really just write somebody needs to have sex with me soon on your Instagram story? Go off. Live your truth.
And then I spent the night like I was checking
what was
my
the
DMs.
response on that?
So that's why I was going to tell you. So I was checking my DMs and I got like such sweet messages from girls about
all my thirst traps are for you girls. They're not. Every time I post a thirst trap, it's just like you guys just gas me up. I don't get laid.
I got the sweet. I also put something in my Instagram story about squirting, and all these people were like, "Did I miss an episode about it?" So I got 1,000 DMs yesterday about oatmeal raisin cookies and squirting, and people tell me all the time the first time they gave a blowjob to completion. So like I have all these really sweet, supportive messages about stuff, and I was thinking like, God, I love our audience because like so many other people couldn't post a story like that because like half of their audience is male, and they'll just get some like disgusting onslaught
100%.
of just like people saying terrible, like, "Oh, I'll come over and fuck you." And I was thinking all night, like, it's so sweet that like I personally have such a large female following, and so do you, and so does Girls Gotta Eat. But then it hit me like, is it because no one wants to sleep with me?
Okay, listen, it's not that. I think so many guys probably started typing that, and then they were like, I don't want to end up on her Instagram story next. You know what I'm saying? Like, as the like, I think people are just getting more and more scared, as they should.
Okay, thank you for
Some guy
putting
tried to sex with me in the DMs the other day. I was like, no, sir. I think they're a little scared. Like, this girl's a big deal. She's out here just posting so much about her life. She already just posted a DM about squirting. Like, I think you see a DM about squirting that you posted, then you see this thirst trap of, you know, I want to fuck somebody. And I think a guy's like, I could be next.
Thank you for putting a positive spin on it, because you know sometimes like I get high and then I see the world like more clearly for like what it really is. And like all day I was like, this is so nice. Our audience is so wonderful. And then I got high and I was like, oh, it's because no one wants to.
No, it's not about that.
Okay, thank you for putting a positive spin on that, because I was nervous.
I love when like, I mean, you and I really are together all the time. We know each other's every move. So like when you post something that like I wasn't aware of and it like makes me laugh, like I slide in there like I'm a fan. Like I'm like, oh my God, that's so funny.
When you were like, I can't believe you just said that, I was like, really?
It's just so bold. I loved it.
Thank you.
Someone needs to have sex with me soon. Like it sounded so like it just, I felt it in my soul. Like it was so real. Like it was like the way you said it. It wasn't like vulgar. It was just like, someone needs to have sex with me soon.
I mean, this is what I was doing. And I was so amped.
Like it came from the heart.
Cookies. Somebody really does need to have sex with me soon.
Oh my God.
You know what it's like? I got so much dick like at the beginning of the year. I was like really getting it. And it got taken away. But listen, I recently could have reached out for that person for some dick this week.
And you didn't.
Didn't even think of it once.
Didn't even, killing it. Are you ready for my rec?
Yeah.
Okay. It's from this. I love this movie so much. It's not a hot take. It's from 2018, so it's a little newer for me.
It is new.
Yeah. And it is book club.
I don't know this.
Well, Diane.
Oh, I don't know this.
So Raina found out very recently that I'm a Diane Keaton stan. And I said something about like, did you see Diane's Instagram? And she was like, Diane who? I was like, Keaton. Diane Keaton.
You find all these sleeper hits Molly Sims Instagram.
But I love Diane Keaton. I think she's just like such a strong, powerful woman. I love Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda's in it. And then Candace Bergen, who was Murphy Brown, right? Mm-hmm. And then Mary, whatever, who was the mom in Step Brothers. I don't know her name. She's just in everything. She's
married to Ted Danson, I want to say.
Okay. But anyway.
She's been married to somebody for like 40 years.
So Diane Keaton, Jane Fonda, bad bitch, love her. I met her before back in Atlanta. She used to be married to Ted Turner, who started CNN. So, just while we're here, CNN zaddies, miss you every day. And then Candice Bergen, and then Mary, whatever, Step Brother's mom. And they're these 4 women. They've had a book club for 40 years. And they're in their 60s, maybe even 70s. So I just, I love that. I love seeing like a glimpse into my future. And like, I love stories about like women and older women just living their best lives. And they really, one is married, but like her sex life is kind of like on the rocks. One is widowed, one is divorced, and one has never been married. So they really cover it all. And they just have had this book club for 40 years, and they start reading 50 Shades of Grey. And it just kind of like what it happens. They're all kind of like on the dating scene. One of them gets on Bumble. Diane Keaton meets this guy, like this hot guy. And it's amazing. It's like Sex in the City in their 60s, 70s, whatever, of like dating and trying to get laid. And it's just, I feel like there's even like a Carrie, Samantha, Miranda, Charlotte. Like, I don't know, just the parallel felt so great to me. I laughed out loud a lot. I cried at one part, but like I found myself laughing out loud a lot. Like it's just like Jane Fonda, she's just so spicy. It's really well written, and I just found myself like loving every second of it. I was like sad when it was over, and it's just great. I want to see more like that. That's why we talked about Sex and the City. Like hopefully it's kind of the same vibe, and they're in their 50s. So book club, like obsessed with it. And now you guys know I am a Diane Keaton stan.
I'll check it out. So we are going to get into the catfish portion. We're going to read your listener submissions. But before we do that, and I will tell my catfish story. I want to tell it to Nev because it's nuts. But I want to hear if you've been catfished, because I don't think I know this.
Nothing like super crazy, like traditional. I think like a couple times I really got the like guy was way shorter, which I think, happens. And this one time it happened, and like, I was really bummed. I'd been like talking to him. I thought he was just going to be like bigger. Like he had played sports in college, and he was just like so small. And I'd already taken a shot before I went down to meet him. And so I just like went with it. We ended up like because he had a pretty good face, but like we hung out the whole night. I got wasted and like brought him home and like used out a sex toy for the first night. Like, and he like never stopped calling me ever. Like, it was just like, I didn't care because it's like, I'm done with this guy. And then like he had the smallest little hands, like whatever. But, and then I've been hatfished.
This is a term I learned. I was today years old.
So hatfished, which, no shade to bald men. Raina prefers them.
I fucking love it.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I do like a guy with a full head of hair. I don't like really like a guy that's balding. So I'm kind of like, take it off, or we don't want like a comb over.
An in-betweener.
An in-betweener. And then when they hatfish you. So you'll see sometimes on dating app profiles, they'll crop the top of their head, or they'll only be wearing hats. On dating apps, it's really obvious who's hatfishing. And then I like had been hanging out with this guy. We met when we were walking our dogs, and we started going on walks, and we were doing outside stuff. And then the first time we went to a restaurant, we walked in, he took off his hat, and I was like, oh, he's fully bald. That guy also virginity catfished me, where that guy was like all over, like that was the guy that was the born again virgin, but like he had been like rubbing his dick between my butt cheeks.
Every time you say it.
That guy rubbed his dick between my butt cheeks, came on my back, and then 2 dates later told me he was a born again virgin. I cannot. So I got catfished by him twice. And then
hatfished once.
Hatfished once, catfished once. And then the other thing I think, this was not too long ago. Someone sent me a full blown profile of someone using all of my pics. Remember this? But she said she was 27. So I was like flattered.
I would be flattered too. Honestly, if I found out that anybody was doing that, you guys don't do that to me. Like, honestly, you could pick somebody better looking than me.
No, I don't. But I was flattered. I was like, go off.
I would be flattered too. If somebody chose me, you could have chose anybody. You chose me.
And then I will say, I feel like we talked about this before, like humor, comedy catfished, where someone's like really funny on text or like within the dating app, and then they're not in person. And the best pre-date banter I've had in so long was Michael Jackson voice. So that was like a bummer, because we had such great banter, and he showed up, and it wasn't just that he had Michael Jackson voice. It was that he was like just really not that funny. I think he was shy, but like he was not who he was over text. So I feel like, who was writing those texts?
I feel like I'm having an opposite situation with this guy right now who I'm kind of talking to, who like is in comedy, and he's funny in comedy. and in real life he's not funny. And I'm like, what? Where is the disconnect here? Like everything he says, it's like almost funny. It's like when you're like, it's like trying to land a sneeze and you just can't sneeze. I don't know. I feel like what's going on here?
Can't quite get there.
Yeah, and we know a lot of comedians who can like write jokes really well and that are just like incapable of forming sentences in person.
Yeah,
that happens.
It happens. Happened on the show once. Listen, not gonna name any names,
but you guys can
take your guesses. It was 2018 summer. Anyway,
you guys actually picked the season.
I got a text from the guy we talked about last week with the rejected booty call.
Okay.
And I just thought it was about that. And I thought he had like heard and was like, it wasn't. He just was sending me something else, which I'm like, are you trying to slide back in?
Sext? What's he
It wasn't a sext. It was like a funny thing, like about a croissant, which I'm like, okay, what are you doing? Because you were told to leave me alone. But no, I just saw that
if we ever told them this last week. The guy that I was talking about that like I'm really good friends with that like told me he didn't want to sleep together. That's the guy that told him to not sleep with you anymore.
That's so true.
I forgot that.
It's so true. He's just out here cock blocking everybody, including himself and you. No, but I saw 2 texts from him and I was like, oh God, he heard the episode, which I also wouldn't care. Like we talk like, you know,
we don't say anything on the show.
No, I don't care. I when I'm saying stuff in the show, I'm prepared for those people to listen.
Yeah.
But I'm always just like, okay. Are we ready?
That would be funny if you were like, you weren't supposed to hear that. And he was like, 1 million people heard that, Ashley. Okay, we're going to read some of your listener submissions for getting catfished. You guys sent such really like creative, funny ones. Apparently there's a million ways to catfish. And we thought we would get into that first, and then we'll give you guys advice and tips and things like that with Nev.
Yeah. And then these are just kind of all across the board. I mean, there is one that's like pretty standard, close to like what you would have seen on the show Catfish, and the other ones are just kind of stuff that made us laugh that was like in the same vein. So I'm going to start with this one. I told Rayna not to read this one, so this is going to be a nice surprise for her. Okay. At the beginning of the pandemic, I was talking to a guy on Hinge and we joked about how our quarantine romance would never be able to exist in the real world because of lockdown. We texted every day and talked on the phone for hours. I love the show Catfish and joked about how we hadn't FaceTime before when he said his camera was broken. I was pretty confident he was messing with me and was not a catfish, but when I tried to FaceTime him, he ignored the call. I tried again the next day, and again, he didn't answer. I started to question if he really was catfishing me and decided to try calling one last time. This bitch has tried to FaceTime him 3 times.
We have friends like that.
To my surprise, he picked up and was naked in the shower.
He was just waiting for her to call him when he was in the shower.
I was speechless and so flustered. Talk about a weird way to meet someone. I told him it seemed like he was busy and should let him go. So I hung up after laughing uncontrollably. I later found out he screenshot my reaction, which was a hilarious first photo for our quarantine relationship. I don't even know if they continued to date. I am so dead over this.
Where are they now?
I know. She thought that she was being catfished, and he finally picked up on the 4th FaceTime and he was butt naked in the shower.
He was just waiting for her to call him when he was butt naked. He was just like, I got you, bitch. I gotta know if they're still together.
God damn it. How would she not?
How could
she
you
knows we need to
us?
know.
That is so funny. Okay.
No. Wait. Okay. I lied. I went back into the email. She did give us an update. There was a second paragraph that I had originally cut. Okay. They dated for 4 months through quarantine, but never got to do normal life together because of COVID. After ending things with him, a friend told me to listen to your episode, Your Man Who's Not Your Man, and it was a game changer. It is because of my quarantine relationship that I discovered GGE. Damn. Oh my gosh, your podcast has truly got me through some rough quarantine moments. Oh my gosh, so her catfish story led her to us.
I love the ending of the story.
I'm so glad I went back and looked.
Oh, me too. That's a beautiful
4 months after the naked shower phone answering.
But they met up? They did meet up.
It sounds like they did. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they were just like virtual the whole time. I mean, 4 months. Like they must have met up at some point.
I feel like catfishing thrived during quarantine.
That was a dream for catfishes. Can't meet up. It's a pandemic.
I know. I feel like it really had its moment.
Can't FaceTime.
Yeah. Its moment in 2020.
Okay.
This made me laugh so hard. All right. Almost 10 years ago, back when chat rooms were a thing, before smartphones, I met this cute ass dude from the UK on Chat Roulette. Do you remember Chat Roulette?
No, I do not.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
My friend and I were trying it out when it first was created, before it was overrun by old saggy dicks. Okay. This guy Camden was so hot and played in a Beatles cover band. I was 19 and super dumb. Just kept chatting with this complete stranger across the world. Cool. I really connected with him and we exchanged Skype info and phone numbers. We continued to talk until one day he asked me to come to Seattle for the Christmas holiday because he would be in the States staying with his family. I live on the East Coast and was again a child. I ended up flying across the country at 19 years old to spend 10 days floating through Seattle with a hot British guy and his band. I stayed in a nice hotel, ate so much yummy food, and had the best sex for 10 days straight. I felt like I was on another planet. I was like vibing my life away.
Vibing my life away.
Trip came to an end and I was like so sad. I was in love with this guy. I was literally ready to start a new life with him in the UK. LOL, I didn't even have a degree yet. Bitch, where are you going to go? Since Facebook/MySpace were really the only way to stalk people then, I found his band's Facebook page when I got home and found out they were completely American. Fully just lived in Bellingham, which is a suburb outside of Seattle. I met his friends, family, and hung out with this dude for over a week. Never once noticed he was faking an accent.
Oh my God.
How did he set this up to his friends? Hey guys, I'm pretending to be British for this girl. I'm flying out here soon, so I need you to just play along with it. I'm talking during sex, a full-on British freak. Morning coffee, a sweet British treat.
Oh my God.
Never once did he break character. Pretty sure this dude is fully a con artist. I ended up messaging him being like, what the fuck? Who are you? In response, I never ever forget it. And then she put in quotes, just a bit of fun, calm down.
That was his response. Oh my God.
All in all, I got an all-expensive paid trip to Seattle with amazing sex and adventures and a British version of this hot Pacific Northwest dude at the age of 19. Truly my win, his loss. Stay safe out there. Never know when someone's literally not at all who they say they are. Okay, the craziest part is that he did this in front of friends and family.
Well, listen, is he Hilaria Baldwin?
Okay, yeah. Or maybe he had like a tragic car accident. He just told people. Like, it changed my accent.
We know people fake accents. Maybe he just loves British culture and that's his truth. And he grew up over the... No, I'm just kidding. But it's like, we have heard this story this year already.
This is crazy. Also, like, we're going to talk about this in Nev today. Like, how do you confront someone when you find this out?
I
know. I'm just like, I'm so baffled.
She did, right? She said, who the fuck are you? And he said, just calm down.
Yeah.
Gaslighting extraordinaire.
The people that are willing to do this, though, are also willing to go to like an extent to make you feel like you're insane. So I'm 100%. Curious, like, how to shut
the
this
gaslighting
down.
goes with it. Okay. This one is this is a fave. This is a catfish on a catfish. This is a double catfish. Okay. She says the short version, my roommate used me to catfish her boyfriend who was pretending to catfish for his friend. I cannot decipher that. I can't.
I read it 7 times.
Yes. I was like, we need more to this. So thank God she was like, the full story. About 2 years ago, my roommate moved to South Carolina and started dating a guy she met through Bumble. They talked, decided to meet up, and eventually started dating. 2 months into officially dating, she happened to see a Tinder notification come up on his phone. She confronted him and he stated he was only still using his account to quote unquote help out his buddy because quote unquote his buddy thought his girl was cheating on him. So this guy was like trying to catfish for his friend. He stated he had been doing it for the past few weeks and she had nothing to worry about. She immediately asked him to stop, delete the accounts, and he agreed. A few weeks go by and she sees another notification. Instead of calling him out on it, she calls me and we decide to create a Tinder account with my pictures for her to see if she can catch him. She scrolls for about 20 minutes and finds his profile, same as it was when she matched with him on Tinder. She swipes right and immediately matches with my profile. They start to message and he asks to meet up that night. She agrees and they set a time. About an hour later, she arrives at the restaurant and sees her boyfriend sitting at the bar waiting for his date. Shit hit the fan, to say the least, and they ended up breaking up. Thank goodness. I still have the receipts if you need them. This is incredible.
I believe that it's true.
100%.
I totally believe this. Also,
this happens all the time.
Yeah, I think that women, I would spend an entire week doing this. I would spend a lifetime doing this.
Yeah.
I'll do some crazy shit. That is so, I mean, it took me a while to understand that email.
I mean, yeah. And then when you really think of the way she said it was so convoluted, but it's just that he was like, he lied about he wasn't actually catfishing. He lied. He said he was catfishing for his friend.
Right. But he was just trying to cheat on her.
Yeah. He was just on it. He was just on Tinder.
Okay. Stay woke, ladies out there. Okay.
Okay. This is the last one. And this one is a true MTV catfish style story. Okay. So just strap in. First off, thank you for being you and everything you do to empower women and people in general. You asked for catfish stories and I knew my time had come.
She's like, it's happening. It's happening.
She's been sitting on this whole time. She's like, oh my God.
3 years. She's like, one day they'll do it.
Her like walk-up music starts playing. It's like, dun, 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 dun. She's like, my time has come. Can you just picture like pounding it out on the keys? Okay, girl, your time has come. Okay. So when I was 18, my mom and stepdad split up. I was devastated in a very vulnerable place and was naturally looking for love in all the wrong places, i.e. Facebook. I had seen this cute guy named Sebastian O'Neill interacting with a few other girls from my hometown and thought maybe I should shoot my shot. We talked every day for weeks about everything we could think about. We totally clicked. He was so nice and loving and said all the right things my 18-year-old self would want to hear. It became so intense that we decided to be in a Facebook official relationship without even meeting each other. He told me he lived in Toronto, which was about 4.5 hours away from the small city I lived in. He said he didn't drive, so he was going to come visit me on the bus. I was so excited. I waited all day. When I got the text, I'm outside. I rushed out my building door to find no one there. I feel like my heart like sinks like reading this, like to feel that at 18, like I can't even imagine. So she found no one there. I texted Seb, so she calls him Seb this whole time, Sebastian, to find out if he had got the address wrong. No reply. I called, no answer, which I was expecting because he said his phone was broken. I didn't hear back from him for 2 weeks. This started a year-long cycle of behavior like this. I mean, this is exactly like the show.
I mean, it's nuts to say I'm outside.
I feel like sick about it. And you're like she's going through some shit. Like it makes me so sad. There were many people that he had been interacting with claiming they had met him. One was this girl, Larissa. She and I became friends very quickly, and I often talked to her about my concerns of Seb being real or not. So I'm assuming she just like saw people he was talking to also on Facebook and just like kind of started messaging with them.
That's what happens on the show Catfish.
On the show, right. So over the time of mine and Seb's relationship, because they did like reconnect, he sent me many gifts, a ring, a necklace, many plaid shirts, my fashion at the time, a bunch of letters, including one that had 150 things that he loved about me.
Okay, there's your first red flag. Okay, PDF. Do not get me. Okay, that guy wrote me a 4-page letter. Okay, it was not 150 things he likes about me.
It may as well have been.
Okay, it was a 4-page single-space typed letter about everything that he loved about me, and then he broke up with me 6 weeks later.
So you can relate. Okay. I'm so glad the PDF popped into my mind. Okay.
Should have tipped us off.
150 things he loved about me. I started to test Seb because I knew after a while that this person couldn't be real and I wanted to find out who he was. I told him for ages I wanted an iPad and then I wanted to go to British Columbia. Larissa invited me out to British Columbia, which I went and got a free trip. Then Larissa bought me an iPad for my birthday. This is just so crazy. I asked her so many times if she was Sebastian, to which she always said no. To this day, I don't believe her. It's been over 10 years now since this happened. I never really got any legit answers, but I still think about this often. And I wish that Catfish was a show when this was happening because I would have written in, but it had been too long since and there's no way to contact this Sebastian O'Neill anymore. And Larissa blocked me too. Anyway, if you want to know anything else, I'm happy to answer any questions. You guys are my favorite. I mean, that's insane.
I'm curious though. So she met this Larissa person on the internet as well and then took a trip with her? Or that girl bought her, or that
like,
girl.
Yeah, they went to British Columbia on this trip.
She met her and went on the trip.
Yeah. So like, I mean, it just had to have been Larissa, right? Oh my gosh. Now I'm just feel like I'm not going to be thinking about this all night because so Larissa was interacting with Sebastian, which she could have been running 2 accounts.
Well, the thing with all these catfish people, I mean, again, it is so hard to get away with this stuff today. But yes, earlier when it was just MySpace and Facebook, these people would create like 1,000 different identities. And we'll get into it. We'll let Nev give you the summary of how he started the show Catfish. But this is basically how it started is he met somebody on the internet and that person had created a ton of other fake identities that he was also interacting with. That was pretty common back then.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously that was it. I mean, unless Sebastian was real and him and Larissa were in cahoots, but like
that seems
odd. So it sounds like it was this girl, which a lot of times you saw that on the show where it was like a different sex, like, you know what I mean? Like it was like a woman pretending to be a man or whatever. Okay. Let's get into it.
Okay, guys. This is a guest that needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyways. I'm so excited. He is the creator and executive producer of the movie Catfish, which turned into the show Catfish on MTV, now in its 8th season. He's the host of a podcast by the same name and the star and runner-up of the most recent season of Dancing with the Stars. Please welcome to the show, Nev Schulman.
Yay! Yay!
Hey!
Dancer Nev Schulman.
Yeah, I know. I honestly, like, I've always felt like a dancer. But now that I can sort of say that, it feels good. It feels good.
Are you dancing around? Like, have you kept with it or?
I regretfully, no, I have not since the the finale, I should say.
Yeah.
I've been chiseling away at my wife in the hopes that maybe she'll go with me and take some ballroom dance classes.
Okay.
Because obviously it's fun dancing with a pro, and Jen is amazing, but I'm not really dancing with her. She's just dancing around me, and I'm just trying to, not screw up. So I'd love to actually learn how to dance with my wife so that we could dance together. And I just think that would be super fun.
Yeah. Oh, dancing's so sexy. Like, who doesn't I want to dance with somebody I'm going to like get sexy with after.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm too jealous if my partner went on Dance with the Stars. Like, it's so intimate.
That definitely comes up. Right. And I asked Jen, I was like, how does people usually respond to this? And she said, generally it's actually the husbands whose wives go on the show who get the most jealous, because like their wives are in the arms of this, like,
Yeah.
super suave, sexy dancing guy. And he's like lifting and, spinning and doing all the things that every guy wishes they could do with their wife, but can't. You know what I mean?
And then when they're like awaiting the results, everybody's just like breathing heavy and they look like they're about to fuck. Like I'm not saying you, but like they're always so all over each other.
Right.
Okay, I don't know why we're going down this road.
And then Chriselle did that guy.
Oh yeah, Chriselle.
That guy.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't her partner.
Right, I know. Right.
That was weird. I mean, I'm not.
You're like, I'm not on here to talk about
That's a separate podcast, guys.
Okay, so let's talk about Catfish.
Yes.
Right.
Do you know? Does Nev, our history with Catfish is that we watch it exclusively in hotels all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like it's always on.
It's a great hotel show for sure. Yeah.
You or Detective Stabler and Benson from Law and Order SVU are with me in every hotel room.
I love to hear that. And actually in my current apartment building, oh my God, I'm blanking on her name. One of the girls from Law and Order lives in my building. Oh God.
Whoa, that's a
blonde. Stephanie, Bobby Flay's ex-wife?
No. I'll think of it.
It doesn't matter, but Raina will be there if she can figure out the address. We can see your view, kind of. So if Raina hears there's somebody from Catfish and SVU in the building, she's there.
I can't believe it's happening. I'm going to be in your lobby in an hour. I got to go. So we want to hear your origin story. Obviously, we're going to talk about Catfish, how you started it, how people are still doing it, how people can avoid getting catfished. But we asked our listeners what they want to know about getting catfished, and they submitted some like really funny one-liners. We just wanted to read them to you. Do you want to read them?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Someone said, oh my God, have you guys seen the show Catfish? There are so many episodes of Catfish. How do people not know they are getting catfished? Bitch, who's out here not asking to FaceTime? Why do hot people use photos of other hot people to appear even hotter? Am I a catfish if I'm way hotter on Instagram than in real life? Asking for a friend. If I thought he had a big dick and then it turns out he did not have a big dick, did I get catfished? I have been getting mask fished by men since March, which we've also talked about hat fishing.
Oh, wow.
And then the last one is, girl, all I know is that I'm in love with Nev. Thank you for this. So,
so should I try and remember and answer all of those questions now?
No, we just wanted to start with that. But yeah, why don't most people,
those are great.
Most people know your story. I mean, I remember seeing the movie, the documentary, and
well, it's interesting. I mean, the further we get now away from 2010, which is when the documentary came out, the fewer people I think associate me with getting catfished versus me with the show.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And there are also just younger people who, weren't at the age of they didn't see Catfish when it came out. But they've grown up with the show and they don't know that I got catfished.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, even people who come on the show oftentimes don't realize that I'm the host because I got catfished and made a documentary about it. And now I'm doing it to help people similarly. But anyway, so long story short, 2006, 2007, I befriended a young girl in Michigan who was an aspiring artist. She had seen my ballet photography, reached out through MySpace to say that she loved my photos and could she use them as the subject of her paintings, which of course was so adorable. And she made these really cute little watercolor paintings. And so we started this correspondence, which then led to a friendship with the mom and their whole family. And eventually a flirtation with her older half sister, with whom I began to develop this kind of crush long distance thing. And after months and months and months of correspondence and trips planned that then didn't happen or canceled, or something came up one weekend, it was supposed to, whatever, eventually decided, okay, enough's enough. Like, I got to go meet this family and this girl who kind of might be my girlfriend if we actually meet. So we went and discovered that the entire family was not at all who they had presented themselves to be. And it was, in fact, quite the opposite. And we made this documentary about it. And that was Catfish, and came out in 2010. And then subsequently, I got just inundated with stories and requests for help from people who similarly were in situations where they were talking to someone on the internet and that they had never met. And now all of a sudden it occurred to them that maybe this person wasn't who they said they were. And so that's what we've been doing now, is helping people find out the truth since 2010 or 2012, I guess, is when the show started.
Yeah.
I think there's like, we're such a fan of the show, and as it's evolved, I mean, there's obviously been more avenues to figuring out who people are, but probably more avenues to hiding your identity, reaching out to people online. So like, has the show really changed? Because when you started the show, it was like people were creating all these Facebook identities, and it's like, It's easy to sort of figure that out today.
It's interesting because yes, there's a prevalence of social media users now. I mean, everyone's online versus, even back in 2007 when I first got Catfish, like everyone didn't have Instagram, or I don't even think Instagram happened yet, but like people were still all getting online. Now everyone's online. But despite that, and despite the other tools that are now available to you to potentially research and find out if someone is telling you the truth, the way in which people fall into these relationships tends to be very much the same as it was back then. Mm-hmm. In a weird way, I think people who are vulnerable to a stranger on the internet befriending them and engaging with them and eventually sort of falling for them are not a lot's changed in that regard. It's sort of a mixture of loneliness, insecurity, in some cases isolation, and any number of other things that make you excited when a stranger says, "Hey, what's up? Love that pic" on the internet. And then once you start engaging, if you're looking for love, or if you're in need of affection or attention, like it can happen. And it doesn't require any fancy technology or even advanced tactics. It's just basic communication consistently with a little hint of romance or flirtation. And then, it kind of runs away.
Yeah. I think what's so special about the show, what you guys did, is really try to help the catfisher, because obviously there's a lot going on there. And a lot of times they're younger people, they're dealing with their shit too.
Right.
So it was nice to see those people like turn their lives around in a way, or you hope. But do you feel like, yes, there's a profile of someone that does that. Do you feel like it's sometimes just people do this for sport and they just want to fuck around and it's like they get off on it? I mean, what do you think of the profile of someone that's catfishing?
Right. I mean, it's interesting because there are definitely different categories. I mean, and a lot of the times I'll get Google alerts because an article will come out about romance scams and they'll use the word catfish in the article. For us, and certainly for me, the intention of the relationship was never to extort money or gifts or any kind of financial gain. It was just for the human connection. And I think most of the episodes that we've made of the show are the same. It's about people who need to be seen, need to be heard. They need an outlet for expressing themselves. They don't feel seen in their lives, or they're misunderstood, or they can't express themselves fully in their community. And they find someone on the internet who finally hears them and sees them and cares about them. And it's not about just messing around or fucking with someone or trying to get money from them. That does happen, of course. And we did an episode, I think last season, where there was this guy who was pretending to be hot girls because he knew that he could start an OnlyFans, and like guys would send him money for pictures. And like, he was like, this is just a great way to pick up cash. It's pandemic. I'm broke. I don't have a job. Anyway, so there are people who do that for sure. But I really find that there's an overwhelming population of people, young and old, but certainly, at least in the experience of the show, younger, who just want something in their life on a regular basis that makes them feel good. And having this friend, having this mysterious, sort of exciting online lover That's just for them, that doesn't know their friends and doesn't know their family, and they can open up to and talk to, much like a therapist, gives them a real sense of fulfillment and makes them feel important and loved. And, I think that's why these relationships happen a lot.
Do you think that and I like that you're very empathetic, it sounds like, to why people start these situations. Do you think that there is sort of any forethought into like, how long can I truly like make this go on? Or do you think like a lot? I mean, I guess it's a wide range. You tell me.
It's weird. I mean, the catfish that are hardest for me to sympathize with are the ones who have been doing it for a long time to multiple people. Because like, I can understand you're 17 or whatever, and you live in a small town or a big city, but you're struggling with insecurity, or you're trying to sort of come out about your sexuality, whatever it might be, any number of things that we all go through at some point in our lives. And you make a fake account because you're curious about talking to people or expressing yourself in a certain way. And then one of those relationships gets away from you and turns into this thing, and you don't know how to end it. Like, I get that. What I don't get are people who have done that and then seen the kind of heartache that victim endures, and then just gone on to the next person and done it again.
Yeah.
And then gone in and done it again. And like, we've had people on the show who've been doing it for years and years, in some cases decades, who have talked to and catfished dozens of people. And to me, that I find that a little bit harder to sympathize with, because you've now chosen over and over again, knowing full well the results of your decision-making, to continue putting your own personal preferences and desires ahead of all these other people. And it's not an accident. It's not like a by mistake. It's very intentional. So there are definitely two sort of different types of people, I think. I still don't think that they're ever necessarily mean-spirited, but there's a level of selfishness and a lack of empathy that goes into their decision-making that they should consider.
Yeah. People ask, why would someone let this happen? And it's like, you already answered it. You really just want it so badly. It's like, you could probably figure it out.
Right.
But if someone's having a harder time, like they're like, I don't know, man, I feel like a normal, stable person and I just don't know what's going on. I feel like what are your first go-to steps to like avoid it, tips and tricks? I mean, we've watched the show, but maybe not everybody has watched the show. We're going to talk about the Google image search, because it's like, is that a thing that is like,
you taught me that trick. Listen, I love the reverse trick. Google image.
It's a good trick. So a couple things. First of all, I don't completely condone internet relationships, even with people that you don't know, who you can't necessarily verify. I think that there's a lot of good that can come from that. I think, a lot of people find like-minded communities of people with whom they share important information and ideas, and like, that's great. And I even often compare these relationships, even when they seem completely absurd. Like, we even had a girl on the show who thought she was dating Chris Brown.
I remember that one.
Right. And so even though anyone you ask would tell you that's absolutely insane, the chances of that really being Chris Brown are, let's just call it 1 in a million. Even you could even call it 1 in a billion. My response is, well, how many people do you know that play the lottery every week? What are the chances of winning the lottery?
Right.
Less than that. But people still do it because it gives them a little bit of a sense of what if, and it's kind of fun. And even though it's hard-earned money that they could be saving and turn into as much money as they might like, that's what they enjoy doing with their time and their money. So I just think it's interesting to think about that, because a lot of people come up to me like, how could these people be so dumb? Or how could they be so blind or oblivious? But like, I don't think it's always that. I think it's almost a choice. It's like, look, I know this is absurd, and I don't necessarily believe that this is going to work out, but it's better than anything else I've got in my life. And what's the harm?
Okay.
But that said, if you are talking to someone and you have feelings for them and you're not sure that they're telling you the truth because they've avoided FaceTiming or canceled plans to meet up, a couple small things you can do, even though I know a lot of people say it feels creepy. Obviously, Google them. Not to say that you'll find anything crazy, but you should find something. If you know the person's name and the town they live in and their job, or like there's a good chance that they should have some information about them on the internet, whether it's on LinkedIn or whatever. If they say they work at Wendy's, call the Wendy's and just say, hey, is Josh there? If Josh is your boyfriend, it shouldn't be that weird that you called to say hi at work. Like, I know it feels a little awkward, but like, worth it.
Yeah, totally.
But no one wants to do that because like they don't want to. That would be so embarrassing for him. Or what if he's not there? And I just feel like an idiot. Like, well, if he's not there because he doesn't work there, then you should know that.
Show up at the Wendy's. Who doesn't want Wendy's?
Show up at the Wendy's.
I mean, it's more embarrassing to like continue to date the person and not dig a little bit, you know?
Right. Now,
I'd rather make the call.
Now, obviously, if they don't live close enough that you could just drop by, you know, there are websites that you can pay to use, and it's not that expensive. Like, I think for $30, you can run someone's phone number. It might even be less than that, or you might have to subscribe and then you can cancel, whatever. Worth it. Run the phone number. And sometimes you get results on one website and you don't on another. So it does help to do it at least on 2 different websites. Obviously, you can do a reverse image search on, you just go to images.google.com and just click and drag the picture into the search bar. Again, not always 100% guaranteed to work, but if the pictures you're looking at are of some guy who's on a Tumblr page called like light skin hot guy abs, like it could show up.
Okay. Let me ask you about reverse Google image search. If it's a private Instagram account and someone's sending you photos, will that get a hit?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think it even finds things on public Instagram pages, weirdly.
Okay.
It'll find like a mugshot.
But
maybe.
Well, you know what it will find though? It will find like the thumbnail. So like if the person's Instagram account thumbnail is the picture, that gets picked up because like there are all these weird Instagram like copycat sites called like Pictogram or whatever, where they basically just like recycle Instagram comments, and I don't know. Anyway, it's a weird, dark, strange, murky place. But like, yeah, image search not always guaranteed to work. So that's why it's good to do all of these things. But like the best thing you can do is if they have a Facebook page or an Instagram, go through the comments. Are the people leaving comments just saying hard eyes, fire, like eggplants, or are they like writing stuff like, oh my God, so fun, like what, like can't wait to see you next week, or say hi to your cousin, whatever. Like, are they personalized? Mm-hmm. And then if you really do want to, again, make sure like message 1 or 2 of them and just say, hey, how do you know Josh? Like, he's my boyfriend, and see what they say.
Yeah.
If all of them say like, oh, I don't really know him, I just know him on the internet, that could be an indication that like you're one of the many people who think they know Josh but doesn't.
Also, if it's Josh is your boyfriend, you should know his last name and you should know all these things. Like I know it's scary out for anybody, but especially for women. Like if I'm ever going to meet somebody, I know their last name. I've looked them up on LinkedIn,
right.
It's that fear of, you're right. They're wanting to win the lottery. They're wanting to like not know the truth, so it's more like you're not asking, because if you ask somebody their last name and where they work before they want to meet you in person and they are weird about telling you, like there's your first red flag.
Yeah.
I know.
And asking those questions, I think is not weird. I think you're saying people get tripped up because it's embarrassing to do these things. But like at the end of the day, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying to somebody, listen, you're a stranger I met on the internet. Of course I did some due diligence.
Well, right. But what happens is the relationship starts just as like a fun friendship correspondence. Right. And then it becomes this like trusted confidant friendship. And at that point,
right,
for you to say, oh, I know we've opened up to each other and talked about personal stuff, but like, I don't really know if I can trust you or if I believe that you are who you say you are, then it almost feels like a betrayal. Right.
Okay.
And when people do say it, the catfish often says, how could you?
They gaslight you.
The catfish also often uses the tactic of saying, I can't believe you don't trust me and that you would question me about like this thing. I'm so hurt. Okay. And then the victim or the hopeful, as we call them, feels bad because then, like, oh, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I of course I believe you. I didn't, and then you backpedal and you're like, no, I do believe you. And then you stop asking because you feel you don't want to upset them again. Like it's this thing that we've seen happen a lot.
A lot of people said to us, how do I confront someone? Can I ever forgive them? If I really actually do have feelings for this person, can I move past this? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, look, it's tough because I think the success of these online long distance digital relationships has a lot to do with the mystery of them and the compartmentalization of it. This idea that you can have this person who exists essentially just in your head and heart, right? That you don't have to interact with them in the real world. There's no expectations of you. You don't have to share your bed or your bathroom with them, but you wake up to a text every morning and you get a text every night. again, it's this private relationship that you're having that most people don't even really tell their friends or family about. And so it's tough because, you don't want to lose that. But if you're feeling like you have sort of hit a wall and you can't get past or through it because this person's on avoiding certain things or won't FaceTime or keeps canceling or standing you up, and you realize you need to do something, obviously the first thing you should do is write in to Catfish. Send an email to catfishneve@gmail.com.
And maybe you'll win the lottery and get on the show.
Right. We need stories. Literally, we are looking for stories right now.
Maybe I should save my story. I'm going to tell you a fucking crazy story, okay? But we want you to finish.
Wait, maybe you should.
But
I'll tell you see what you think.
But I think you have to force yourself to have you have to have enough respect for yourself to do what's right for you. And that doesn't mean that you have to be mean about it, but I think you have, as hard as it is, you have to say, look, Josh, I really love talking to you. And this has been so great, but I can't keep talking to you if you can't do this thing. And that's just because that's what I need. And if we're in a relationship and you really love me, then you would understand that. So think about that, mull it over. But like, if I don't hear back from you, or if you can't FaceTime this week or whatever the deadline time frame is, like, then I need to stop talking to you.
Right.
And that's hard because you don't want to give up Josh, but like, if Josh is legit and cares about you, like, that should be easy for him.
Also, Josh works at Wendy's. Like, you can do better. I mean, I think also, like, I have a girlfriend, and this is not your traditional catfish. You were saying the word gets thrown around and misused, but she was dating a guy. She was younger. She was in her early 20s. He was married with kids, and would always just, his house was getting renovated, so they had to meet in a hotel, and they would go on trips and all this stuff. And she, she feels like she would have never fallen for this today, as in, in her the late 30s. But she just, every time she asked, even the smallest bit of, hey, I just think it's weird. Like, why have I think she one day said, was like, if you don't take me to your house, I can't date you anymore. And he flipped out and was like, how dare you not trust me? You're my girlfriend. And she actually finally sat next to a PI on a plane. They were drinking. She started talking about her relationship and how she had doubts. And he was like, I can find this out for you in 5 minutes. And they landed, and he ran a check. He was married with kids. He sent her his address, and her and her friend drove by the house and saw him come out of his house with his wife and his kids. And so, I mean, and then she confronted him in the immediate confrontation. She was like, meet me at this place. And he still tried to say it's not true. And she was like, oh, well, that's right. But it's like, I just say that's why the gaslighting of like, you're crazy. How dare you not trust me?
Well, and not just gaslighting, but also like, people lie. You don't have to go on the internet to get lied to. You know what I mean? Like, it's not an internet phenomenon that people are lying.
Well, I think you meet men in bars all the time that lie about their income, what they do for a living. Do they have a wife? Do they have kids? And those things I think are a little easier to check. There's so many public records, wedding registries, kids registries. We did an episode on stalking a few weeks ago, so we're not going to be super redundant.
If you look, the reality is, if you want to find out, there's always a way. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people subconsciously or consciously prefer not to find out, because then their perfect boyfriend goes away, or their perfect girlfriend, or whatever it is. So like, you just have to consider, how much are you allowing this, and how much are you, in many cases, participating in this make-believe.
When I was a kid and my parents finally told me my imaginary friend wasn't real, it was devastating. And they had really catfished her.
Oh, wow.
And they had like bought me gifts from her. And then I feel like they were finally like, okay, we got to tell Ashley Norca isn't real. Norca, that was her name.
And just hearing about
and
Norca.
then like, I finally was like, I feel like I always sort of knew, like it was a whole thing that my parents, it was like did you see her?
You know what? Wait, you know what you should do now is you should make an Instagram account for Norca and friend your parents. And don't say anything to them. Just have them be like, wait a second, is Norca real?
Or I'm going to do some real fucked up shit and be like, Norca found out she's my dad's kid and she went on 23andMe or whatever, and that's her dad.
Oh my God, that'd be so funny.
I'm going to go really
got
hard.
An email from 23andMe that's just like, you have a new DNA match. Like, anyway, that would be great.
Well, this is what I'm doing for the rest of the year. This is going to be your parents' Christmas gift.
Neve, have you seen anything crazy, whether it's changed since 2012, or like, are you ever shocked anymore? Like, do you have anything in recent memory that was like, this person went above and beyond in the catfishing?
Yeah, I think the thing that shocked me more recently well, we didn't, I think, and this was just last season, the season that just aired. We had an episode where this guy who is now in a very serious relationship and has a daughter with this girl. But years ago, when he was a teenager, he had fallen in love for the first time with this girl on the internet. And they corresponded for about 2 years, I think. And then she broke his heart and started dating some other guy. And he had just been crushed. Had never met her.
Okay.
And then periodically, I think he would try to find, she would pop up, whatever. She kind of lingered in his life for years, even up until the present. And it was actually his girlfriend who wrote in, which was like, look, I need my boyfriend to stop wondering if that girl was ever real or not. Cause like, he can't get rid of it. She's in his head, even though he's in love with me and we're very happy. Like it's this thing and it's bothering me as his girlfriend. And like, I need it done. So we did what we do. And we discovered that the girl in the pictures was actually real. And her name was her name, but that it had been her mom who had been using photos of her daughter, who had even gone into her daughter's phone when she was sleeping and taken like sexy selfies off of it that she had taken to send to her boyfriend at the time, and had talked to this like 16, 17-year-old kid for years.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
It was really weird. And and the woman's obviously doesn't do it anymore. And she's been to a therapist since, but like, borderline, if not just blatantly criminal for, a 30s, late 30s, 40-year-old, some woman to be talking to someone underage and sending pictures of their daughter, which is also super
like the
weird.
Privacy invasion too, on top of it.
And the weirdest thing was that the daughter had found out, confronted her mom about it. They had this weird falling out, but they've since repaired themselves. And she was actually the one who like helped us figure it out. Like
the daughter.
Well, right. Cause we found the daughter on the internet and we was like, oh, she looks like she's married. We reached out and she's like, okay, oh my God, like I'll help you find out the truth. And then she brought her mom on. We're like, what? Anyway, it was wild.
Had her mom done this to a bunch of different guys, or this is just one?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. With the daughter's pics,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So you can imagine how like surprised, grossed out and furious the daughter was when she found out her mom. Yeah. Super, super violent.
That is
so that
wild.
was pretty shocking.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. I don't.
Yeah, I feel like that takes the cake.
Can you top that, Nev?
Do you feel like people are changing their tactics and getting like slicker with the catfishing, or I mean, just kind of it's all kind of the same?
Not really. I mean, because like there are so many ways now. Not so many. There are definitely ways now that you can be more convincing. Like you can use the filter now to like literally put a girl's face on your face.
Wow. Oh right, just technology. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely more, like you could be more sophisticated, but again, the weird thing about at least the victims of catfish who sort of fall into the category that we feature on the show, the less they get, the more they want. If you're just a little profile picture and an occasional text here and there, and like the less someone gets, like the more curious and excited they are to get more, and they'll wait around and they'll engage and it's crazy, but that's how it works.
I mean, I guess it's like a good, if you wanted to be a catfish, that's the tactic used. Because today I think there's more and more avenues to find out who somebody is. Like you said, if you can't find somebody on the internet, they probably aren't real at this point.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't want to make a sweeping statement like that, obviously, but I do think that it's so interesting. Like you can be corresponding with someone for months or years and never even talk on the phone. And when I ask people, why haven't you asked to FaceTime? A lot of the time I'll get people will say that they haven't even asked to FaceTime because they don't want to FaceTime because FaceTiming is awkward. Then you have to like look at the person and deal with those awkward silences. And young people, I mean, everybody is, but I've heard from a lot of young people that they're insecure and they don't love the way they look. And so it's just
they're
easier and safer to just text.
Yeah, it's in the profile of someone that is insecure. Then they don't want to FaceTime. Like they're not
exactly.
We got someone asked. I mean, people asked us like, "How do you forgive this person? How do you forgive yourself?" I mean, I think people really beat themselves up. Do you guys see that a lot?
I mean, yeah, I think there's always, similar to the sort of 7 stages of grief. Right? Is that's the thing, right?
5 stages.
5 stages.
Yeah.
I think there's a sort of similar stages of getting catfished, and the first one's usually surprise, and then embarrassment, and then just sort of a feeling of how could I be so naive, and kind of questioning yourself, and others of course as well, depending on who and what situation is. But I try really hard in the sort of aftermath of helping these people deal with finding out the truth, just to remind them that it's never a bad thing if someone lies to you, right? Like, you haven't done anything wrong. You got lied to. And being a trusting, open person is also a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, yeah, moving forward, you'll hopefully employ some tools and tactics, and maybe have a little bit more of a defense mechanism up, but don't change that you are an open-hearted person, because that's a great trait to have. And then I also do my best to sort of remind them that this experience, despite it feeling shitty right now, is going to be a sort of building block for your personality. And it can and will potentially become something that makes you more interesting, and, gives you something to talk about and something to offer as a person in conversation, and will inform your decision-making for the better for the rest of your life. So, like, even though it stings right now, like, it's certainly in my case, and I think in many other cases, if you can look at it as a learning experience and as something that actually is building your character, I think it can be a really positive experience.
I love that. I think that's great.
I love that you said that, because the girl that sent the story, the intro of her email was like, I've been listening to girls for 3 years, and when you asked for catfish stories, I knew my time had come. Like, she's been sitting on this, like, it was part of her story. Like, she is she got to share it on this podcast she loves, and we read it, and it's just kind of, you're right. I mean, I think of that every time I go on a bad date. It's like, well, this is just a story, we used it on this podcast.
Right.
I think it can be something you really beat yourself up for. I recently was personally catfished for like 12 hours, and I was even like, Ashley knows, like, I spent days beating myself up for like, how could I have even let this go on for 12 hours?
Why don't you tell the story?
Yeah, I'm going to tell the story.
I got catfished again after I got catfished.
No.
I did. Not a romantic one, but like
what?
Fully, we did an episode. We did a whole special about it. Anyway,
oh, maybe I saw it.
Tell us your.
It? We saw it. We totally saw it. We probably saw it in like
I'm such a stan.
A Marriott somewhere.
Yeah. I will tell you the story, but how did you meet your wife? Did you guys meet online?
I found her Instagram account and started following her, and then months later discovered she had been following me, and so I just DM'd her. And
that's funny. It's like, it's Nev, is a meme for Nev, is like, don't meet people online. Awesome, Nev.
Yeah, totally.
All right, I'm finding this text to send to read to you.
Yeah, so we'll end with this. Raina's going to tell you her story, and I can't wait to hear what you think. I have my own thoughts, but
By the way, so while you're looking, the only thing I want to say about what we were just talking about is, like, even though, no one wants to get catfished, right? If you consider it a relationship, right? Every relationship, with the exception of a handful of people who fall in love in high school and are married and die in their 80s together, right? Every relationship has a beginning and an end. And some are longer than others, some are better than others, some end nicely, some don't end nicely. But you need all those failed relationships in order to hopefully finally get into the one that you're meant to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really think that, like, even getting catfished, even as weird and awkward and uncomfortable and crappy as that can be, is still a super important experience that you need in order to get you that much closer to being ready and the person you need to be to, like, find the right person.
I love that. And that's your story. It worked for you.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
No, thank you I love that. That's a great way to.
Maybe you should let yourself get catfish. Start an empire.
Yeah.
How many episodes have you done of catfish? I feel like
do you have do you know the number?
We were just talking about it. I think we're at like 170 now.
Yeah. Okay.
170, I think.
Congrats.
Somewhere in that area. Yeah.
Such a good show. Every time it's just like, I turn on the TV in a hotel, it's like ridiculousness and catfish. I'm like, here's what
I know. I actually just looked at like a chart. Someone made the
chart. Yeah, it's
chart.
all.
Yeah, you saw that.
It's all ridiculousness and catfish is in there a couple times. I want to know what's going on with that, but that's a story for a different time. Okay, yeah. Raina.
There's so many twists and turns. I'm like nervous, but I want to like shorten this up for you. So I woke up one morning to a text in my phone. There was 4 text messages. I had a free day. So
unknown number. Don't know the phone number. And it says, sorry for the late text. Just wanted to say hi. Happy Monday. I'm finally back in the US, safe, healthy, figuring out what I'm going to do this week. Wish I could cuddle you instead. I'll call tomorrow once I get settled. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend. He sends a photo of himself with a dog. It's a cute guy that's like my age with a dog.
My gosh.
And he's
So
like,
good.
I can't believe you fell for this.
No, I can.
The next text says, "Oh shit! It's certainly possible I've reached an incorrect number by mistake. Brief airport encounter.
Certainly possible.
Brief airport encounter overseas. Perhaps I was given the wrong number. This is." He tells me his name. I ask who this is.
Wait,
Okay.
you still hadn't responded to.
So it's 4 text messages.
Oh, that's all you woke up to that, right?
Yep,
right,
I wake up to like 4 back-to-back texts. This guy, like a pretty intimate text message, a photo of a cute guy, and then him being like, "Oh shit, I think it's the wrong number." So I'm like, all right, I have a day. This is what I'm doing today. I was like so excited to tell Ashley, but I was like, I'm checking into this. I'm checking into it.
Right.
So I respond, and I just said, because it's clear that this guy had like a one-night stand with somebody at an airport. And I was like, I got to know the story. So I was like, that's a pretty intimate text message to send to a stranger. But yes, you have reached the wrong person. So we start chit-chatting throughout the day. This guy is like, he seemed like super normal, and he was funny. He was like, "Have I at least reached a female? Are you age appropriate?
What's your social security number?"
Right. What's your routing number? Right.
Whatever. I couldn't resist. It was a cute guy with a dog. So I was like, no, I'm a girl. I live in New York City. I'm age appropriate. We like joked back and forth. Yeah. He said, "Are you single? Can I flirt with you? Is that fine?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. No big deal."
God. This is the dream. This is literally like the best.
He sends me a photo of himself holding this baby. It's the cutest guy. I'm like, holy shit, Ashley, I'm in love. This guy is so funny. I'm telling him like the most fucked up jokes. We just joke back and forth. And he's like, "Can I see a photo of you?" So I'm like, what do I have to lose? So I send him my Instagram account, and I was like, "Enjoy stalking me." Whatever. I'm like a public person. I don't care. Right. So we talk throughout the day. We like trade all these different, I don't tell him any information about myself. I'm like, I'm not going to tell this person anything personal you couldn't find on the internet in 5 seconds. But I enjoyed talking to him. I'm like, I guess there's some possibility that this is a real person. He tells me what he does for a living, where he lives. He's peppering in all this information throughout the day. And throughout the day, I'm trying to figure out who this is. So he sends
no image search.
Well, he sends me a couple photos. I reverse image search the photos. No hits. Throughout the day, he tells me where he went to school, where he grew up. He tells me he has a couple sisters. He tells me what he does for a living. It's a government job that he would not have a public profile if he actually has this. So a very like classic, I am not
work for the government. But then he threw in, "I'm also a personal trainer" on the side. I'm like, no government employee has time to work at the LA Fitness training people.
Well, pandemic, they're
you gotta have a side hustle.
Everyone's working from home, right?
So at this point, I'm like so deep into this. I'm like, I like talking to this guy. Now he's like sexting with me a little bit. I'm like, I gotta figure out who this person is.
Oh my God.
So I'm looking up all this information. I'm looking up like where he went to college. I'm looking at the Alumni Association. I'm reverse searching the phone number. I can't find it. Yeah, I look up what he says he does for a living. There should be some hit with that. I knew how old he was. I knew what city he said he claimed to be in. So this goes on throughout the day. He sends me a sexy pic.
Neve, it is I can't even. It is like you Googled hot body, giant dick, and that's what came up. It is washboard abs and a 10-inch cock. Like, it's just like not. I saw that picture. That was a smoking gun for me. She showed me the dick pic. I was like, that's not that's a fake person.
I keep telling Ash, I'm like, this crazy story. We have a new boyfriend. This is so great. I have 2 girlfriends on the case. Everyone's looking this up. They're looking up the Alumni Association. We can't find out who he is. And so how did I shut this down?
Raina, she had a friend call the number.
Oh, so I had a friend call the number. She did just like a Google phone number. She calls the number. It's not a real phone number. It was a Google phone number.
It's a voice app, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Also, a couple things. The pictures, when we really started to zoom in, it looked like it could be a different guy. Like eyebrows a little bit different. Like the pictures look different.
Hairline was different.
And then the other smoking gun was that, well, all of it, first of all. But like that he sent the first text and then
wait, don't tell me yet. Don't tell him yet.
Okay.
So there was a lot of smoking guns throughout the day. And I was like, there's no footprint of this person on the internet. We can't find him anywhere. Phone number is fake. And I said to him, he was like asking for pics. I'm like, I can't send you anything. So I'm looking at my phone and it like occurs to me, I never checked the timestamps on the text messages. So I scroll over
the first one
exactly when he sent the text, the first 4 a.m. He sent me that like good morning with the dog photo. And 4 minutes later, he said, "I've reached the wrong person." And I never checked the time. You know what I mean? Nobody would have thought that they reached the wrong person in 4 minutes.
Like, you don't get a no response and you're like, wait, is this the wrong number? That's so weird. That's not a thing that, someone...
Yeah, sure.
I thought it was...
to me, that's the craziest.
No, I agree with you. I mean, 4 minutes obviously can feel like a very long time if you think you're texting someone that you just like left like, in bed. You know what I mean? Like, but also, yes, agreed. Also, how would he know he texted the wrong number?
But that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like he fucked some. The story was that he like was on a layover and fucked some girl in an airport.
This is obviously the kind of guy you want to be with.
Honestly,
that's what I'm saying.
Like it sounds like a freak. Honest, I didn't hate it.
Also, like we do we talk about dating and sex for a living. Like Rayna was like, let me hear the story. But like, then she just engaged.
I had to know what happened. And I also did not tell this person anything about myself. So he has no photos of me, whatever.
Yeah, you engaged. It was fun.
I asked him for his social media. I was like, you have my Instagram, give me your Instagram.
Right.
And he was like, oh, because of what I do for a living, I can't give it to you. I don't. And I said, I was trying to find him on the internet. He was like, I don't have any public profile. So he kept like following up. And it got like, it escalated to him like really sexting and me just like really not responding. So the next day he said like, did I say something wrong? So I just hit him with a text and it said like, hey, I can't verify who you are. It's been nice chatting with you, but can't keep interacting with somebody. Hope you understand. And he wrote me back immediately and he got like pretty aggressive. And he was like, I don't understand. I can't believe you're ghosting out of this. I can't believe that you did this. You won't even give me a reason. So I blocked the phone number. And that's the end of the interaction. But I really like beat myself up for days. Like, how can I let this go on?
Well, yeah. I mean, the weird thing is like, did he know who you were?
So that's what we were wondering. Rayna was like worried, like this is a stalker. But then I just thought like we see so much weird behavior from everybody, but a lot from men that just do weird stuff to get themselves off. Like it felt like maybe that's what he was going to do that day, he picked a number and it just so happened to be like a person in the a personality. Yeah.
I think that I was really scared. Like, do I have a stalker? It really frightened me. I also told myself that there's a big range between somebody's sort of like catfishing on your phone and showing up at your home and harming you. You never know. I mean, I don't want to make blanket statements about safety. You should always be safe. I just thought this was like a silly, fun thing I was going to do throughout the day. I blocked the phone number. I do think by how fast he just went away, probably this was just like, he just accidentally hit on a person that happened to have some notoriety or something.
Well, or he's fishing for sexy photos and then he turns around and uses them to blackmail you.
I thought that too. Yeah. Like, and I thought it could be even Raina doesn't think this, but me and another girlfriend of ours thought it could be a girl. Like it could easily be a girl that hates us that once thought she could maybe get nudes or like, a sexy video from you and put it on the internet, Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I would never be stupid enough to send photos, but we never figured out who this was. We used every means that we could to try to figure it out.
Are we sure it wasn't Norca?
God damn it.
That is the callback of the day.
I opened up to you, Nev. No.
I thought I knew everything about her and she's just out here telling you secrets about her life. But that was my catfish story. I don't know if there would have been you tell me, is there any other way I could have figured out who this person was? I feel like I went down every avenue.
You did the right thing. Obviously it's easier for people like me or you. I don't know what you're following online is, but like, you can always post a picture, tweet a picture. No, just like tweet
who is this?
No, because like it's amazing how if the guy's a model and he's online somewhere, and even if you have 1,000 followers, like you'd be amazed how quickly people can
100%.
6 degrees of separation. It's like, oh yeah, I think I do it's amazing. So there's always that option. I mean, it's a little weird to post a picture on your social media and be like, hey, does anyone know who this is?
If I felt super unsafe, I might, I would want to consult somebody first. I don't know what.
Right. I mean, it wouldn't get you any closer to finding out who you were talking to, but it might help you discover that you're not talking to the guy in the pictures.
Yeah. Well, the pictures were really interesting. Like she said, because they do not appear to be the same man, like variations on different men.
But you're not looking at his face.
He sent a bunch of photos.
Oh, there was like before that. But then I was also like, that body is not what that goes with that face. But I also think just in general, at least in my years of dating and stalking, if you have their first last name and their college, it something pulls up. Like even if it is like Matt Johnson and he went to UCLA, like you'll at least find that there's 20 of them, but like she had his alleged first and last name and actually where he went to school, and it's a smaller school that he said. So anyway, I mean, I didn't think this was real, but we just wanted to share with you. And
it's a good example of, like I said, one of the types of, and I would call that probably more of like a romance scam.
Because
that guy's not looking for.
That guy got kind of pissed. It like scared me a little bit, but I understand what you're saying is that like some people's reaction is to like gaslight you and be like, how could you do this? You know,
I sent you my dick.
Well, and then become manipulative and make you feel bad. And then you keep talking to them. And then again,
he picked the wrong girl on that one.
Right. Well, I'm glad to hear that you avoided giving him any information or allowing it to go on any longer than it did.
Thank you. I just thought it'd be a funny story to tell Ashley. I was just like, this is what I'm doing today.
And then we were like, wait, let's touch base with Nev. Because we've been trying to get you on the show for a while, but you were like having kids and whatever. So you were busy.
There was a pandemic,
In the pandemic, yeah. But thank you so much for this. Do you have anything?
This is great.
Do you think you have any like parting words you didn't get out?
Well, no, yeah. I mean, just because we're on a podcast, we have now converted and we're releasing new episodes every week, Catfish to a podcast.
Okay.
And so if you're new to Catfish, if you haven't seen the show, or if you've seen it a few times, or if you just love listening to podcasts, the Catfish podcast is really interesting. It's and I actually think in a weird way, it's not better than the show, but because these relationships exist in this sort of ether of mystery, listening to the show allows your imagination to sort of paint the picture much in the way that being in the relationship does, because you have less information and you're so it's kind of fun because you can imagine what these people look like and where we are and kind of get a little bit closer to the feeling and the texture of the relationship as it happened than you can when you actually just see it. So anyway, if you're looking for some more catfish in your ears, check out the Catfish podcast.
Okay. Anything else you want to plug? Everybody knows what you do, but just you want Instagram followers? You want OnlyFans? Like,
you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. They're all the same. Just Nev Schulman.
Okay.
I mean, the only other thing I would say is just to promote people listening to each other more. I think one of the main reasons people get catfish is because they don't feel like they have anyone who cares enough to listen to them and ask them how they're feeling. So I think if we all just do a better job of checking in with each other and asking someone how they feel, not because we feel like we should, and not because we all actually want to tell them how we feel, but just to let them tell us how they're feeling, we'd all be better off.
Thank you 100%. For that.
Well, thank you so much, Nev, for joining us. And everybody go listen to the Catfish podcast, watch the show, all the things.
This was so great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
But not bye. All right, guys. Well, hope you enjoyed. How do you feel, Raina?
I feel great. This was an amazing
Your
interview.
Dream come true.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. And you guys know where to find us. girlsgottaeatpodcast.com, Girls Gotta Eat Podcast on Instagram, Ash Hess, Raina.Greenberg on Instagram, girls_gotta eat on Twitter, and youtube.com/girls gotta eat. And we will see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
Bye.